this summer, so just keep an eye out for Brian's emails and the CS4Georgia emails, because we're seeing a lot of our national partners as well as our state partners step up with some really excellent opportunities, oftentimes at minimal cost or free. So working on it.
Very good.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Dooley talking to Patricia Beach right now. We're calling this loose morning coffee hour. Those who logged in earlier have a chance to just chit chat with each other and say hi. We're going to give the late arrivals a minute or two. Looks like we've got a couple of people logging in. So thank you for coming and joining us early, guys. Looks like we have Stephen Tyler. Hi, Stephen. How are you? And then we've got Chris Thompson, we've got Terry Smith, Abigail Jocelyn. Welcome, guys. We will start momentarily. Anybody want to have a one-on-one conversation with Dr. Dooley or the most incredible Mr. Brian Cox, who's also at DOE this morning?
Morning, everyone.
Anybody else? Got a good 10 minutes worth of extra time. Anybody else want to have a conversation with Dr. Dooley before we get started, or Brian Cox? Everybody's good. They're all waiting. What's going on with you, Brian?
Everything's going on. Looking at standards, looking at grants, looking at some chai latte. Chris, I would love to talk to you later on about some grant opportunities. I don't know, we have high school, middle school people here. There's some professional development coming up this summer that we're excited about. Anybody that's in middle school, high school, I know we have Jekyll in June, end of June. There's a sign up for teachers to get trained in technopreneurship, as well as some Python training done by Microsoft. CTAE has their Field of Dreams early June. What else is going on? I know Seismic has some training going on for CSP teachers and CS Discovery teachers. But we'll talk later on about the professional development that you can find on the CS4GA website that kind of highlights all of those things. So just getting everybody some opportunity to get some additional training. I'm in school. Everybody likes to have some additional training and professional development. So looking forward to that. If you're not a part of the EdWeb community, make sure that you join that.
Some people are chatting. Let's see what they're saying. We've got Terry Smith saying hi. Dr. Gail Stokes is also joining me. Great.
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Gail Stokes. And just so everybody, we'll talk a little bit about the great work Gail and other folks in South Georgia are doing with us on an NSF grant. So we'll talk more about that later. Thank you for joining us, Gail. So glad you could make it. Terry, thank you for helping Gail join us. And we got Abigail Jocelyn, who said, I'm representing the Georgia Game Developers Association.
Woo-hoo.
I love games. And great. So let's go ahead and get started. So you are being recorded. So just so you know, we have to be on our best behavior, Gail. Yeah, Brian. No, actually, Brian's always on his best behavior. Caitlin and I are the ones who need to be. All right. So guys, welcome. This is the first, or hopefully many, CS4Georgia statewide conversations with Dr. Dooley and Mr. Brian Cox and you all. We will feature different topics, so we'll be looking for your suggestions and what you want to learn about. If you want to learn about, we'll get closer to the mic. I can tell some folks are having a harder time hearing us, so you could, one, turn up your mic, your speakers, and we realized, Brian just took a note, that we're going to get a mic, external mic, so we can have a better audio from us. So apologies we'll try to speak up a little. Caitlin, if you have a softer, gentler voice, you'll have to, well, you can project. She's a teacher. She can project. So today, apologies for that, but we'll try to get a mic. I'll get a mic, and so that we are set up for future calls. So the purpose of today is to have our first conversation with you all, share with you what CS4Georgia is for those of you who are not familiar, and hear about some updates from Dr. Dooley and Brian Cox. They have some amazing things going on at Georgia DOE. DOE is the one that is hosting us, supporting us, the growth of this network, but they are separate entities. And then we'll end. We'll have if Erica Moore has a chance to join us, we will then have her share a little bit about what she and other folks are going to be doing to help us learn about the policy education work we're going to do to help us learn about policy work that we could be doing. And so that's it. That's the purpose of the call. So if you all are going to stay on the call, that's the purpose of the call. So, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to do so. I'm about to just allow you to do some introductions. If I see everybody's name, I'll go ahead and mention them. And then that way we don't have to spend a lot of time introducing ourselves. But since it's not a huge crowd, if it's okay with everybody, I'll just let everybody just one by one, I'll ask you. And if you just mention your name, your title, what you do in like a sentence, what you do, and where you're located. And what you're trying, and Caitlin said you have to say something fun as well. So I will say that, so Kohasan, Advantage Consulting, working with Dr. Dooley and Brian Cox on the CS4Georgia initiative movement in Georgia, and something, I'm in Atlanta. And something fun for me is I just went to Octane, which is a great coffee spot, and I got treats for us this morning. Coincidentally, Dr. Dooley was at a coffee shop, pastry shop at the same time, and she said, "Oh, good, you're there already. Get me a coffee. I need coffee before this." So that's my fun thing. Dr. Dooley, do you want to? Oh, everybody knows who you are.
Hi, I'm Caitlin McMunn Dooley, and my hope with this is that we'll have a regular conversation. We're working very hard up here in Atlanta, but we really need to hear from you in order to move in the right direction and ensure that the good things that we're trying to do for you are actually welcome and exactly what you need when you need it. So we're working hard. I'm here in Atlanta, Deputy Superintendent for Teaching and Learning at the Georgia Department of Education.
Good, Mr. Brian Cox.
You didn't do anything fun. That's fine. Brian Cox. I am also with Teaching and Learning. I am where's the camera down here? Computer Science Program Specialist at the Department of Education. This feels like us taking an additional foray into blended learning. We have a lot of professional learning strategies already in place. EdWeb, we're putting out Georgia Learns. We have PD going on all over the state all the time, the workshops and whatnot. But being able to get feedback from the teachers and from the CS stakeholders is critical. And so just being able to open us up to a conversation, just a simple, hey, what's going on with you? What's going on with us? Where should we be going? What should we be doing? How can we help you? How can you help us? That kind of thing. That's what I hope to get from this. Something fun. I went yesterday to the Georgia Renaissance Festival and was pleasantly surprised by the number of students who apparently are done with their testing and now can go on field trips and have fun in the weather. And it was a great experience. So, my fun thing.
Thank you, Brian. All right, Patricia, could you share a little bit with us about who you are, what you do, and something fun, and where you're located?
Hi, I'm Patricia Beach. I am located in Thomasville, Georgia, which is much closer to Tallahassee than Atlanta. And I teach computer science, the computer science and programming pathways in Thomas County. Something fun is I like to encourage my students and everybody I know to do CS50. So There's a rubber duck. That's fine. Don't know CS50. It's a rubber duck debugging. You tell the duck. So that's fine.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
We're testing. So we only have 2 students here, so they're working on the computer stuff.
Okay. Yep. So is my son. Great. Gail and Terry, do you guys want to go next? Names, titles, where you're at, and what you do.
Hi, yes, I'm Terry Smith. I'm the Instructional Technology Coordinator here in Fitzgerald, and I have the pleasure of working with Dr. Gail Stokes, who keeps things lively and always lots of fun. We just had a chance to go visit Erin down in Thomasville. She's got a lot of wonderful things going on. We had a great visit. We're very impressed, and we're looking forward to working with her district more. And something fun, today's my birthday, and it's also my daughter's birthday. Yes, we had the same birthday. I couldn't have planned it any better.
Happy birthday. All right. Gail?
And we have a rodeo that's coming to Friday.
Yes, to Fitzgerald, our first rodeo. So everybody's getting excited here about our rodeo.
I'm working with CS4GA for all, and I'm the community engagement specialist for rural Georgia for 3 counties: Thomas County, Brooks County, and Ben Hill County. So that's who I am.
Awesome. Thank you,
Dr.
Gail. Great. Yes. We'll talk more about that project in a second. Stephen, would you like to go next, please?
Hey, good morning. I'm Stephen Taylor with Seismic. I'm the communications manager, and I work with Chris Thompson, and I'm just curious to see what's going on with respect to computer science and DOE.
We all love Seismic. Thank you for joining us. What's something fun?
I own 2 miniature pigs.
2 miniature pigs. They're not toys. You're talking about actual miniature pigs.
Yeah, they're about 100 pounds apiece, but that's small.
Woo, that is not miniature.
Yeah, well, they're mini compared to the regular size one.
You're not the guys see at Piedmont Park walking them on a leash, are you?
No. They're not that well behaved.
Well, they are very intelligent, so hopefully they can take a computer science course soon.
You never know.
Let's see. Thank you for joining us. There's somebody who has an XSplit broadcaster. Who is that? Somebody's showing a. Never mind. I don't know who that is. Aaron Rayberg, would you like to go next? You're on. Oh, let me unmute you. You're on a. Oh, let me unmute you.
Yeah. Okay. Hey everyone. I see Miss Beach. She's around the corner at our high school, and Terry and Gail, like they mentioned, were both here with us in Thomas County last week. I'm the digital learning coordinator for the district. Something fun is yesterday I went to the rising 3rd grade orientation at our elementary school because my son is moving up there, and they have their coding and robotics room open for parents to tour and talk about coding instruction and what it does for the students. And they're actually hosting a camp this summer, a computer science and coding camp for rising 3rd through 5th graders. So it was really exciting to see the students geared up and excited to begin their coding and computer science journey at Cross Creek Elementary here in Thomas County.
Great. Thank you. That's wonderful. Great, good news to share there. And part of what we'll be doing and what Dr. Dooley's instruction to us is moving forward is one of the main things she wants to do is get success stories and happy stories like those out. So we're going to try to build our social media empire. So we'll be showing you, we're trying to start Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts. We have them, excuse me. I'll be promoting those. And on our website, we're going to start to feature a page that's videos, YouTube or others, so that people can go and listen and be inspired and share. And so in the future, we'll have opportunities for you all to share those links with us so we can then provide the link to the video. So we're kind of working on that one step at a time. Thank you, Aaron. Abigail Jocelyn. Abigail, would you like to introduce yourself? Name, title, what you do, and something fun.
She says she doesn't have a mic in the, if you look at the.
Okay, go ahead. I unmuted you. Go ahead, Abigail. Oh, she doesn't have a mic. Okay. Well, if you could type something in the chat box, we will look at that and get your introductions. So, Mr. Jordan Rose, we are honored to have you, sir. Could you tell us who you are? And then we'll introduce Abigail in a minute. Title, well, we know who you are, but if you could tell everybody who you are and something fun.
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Jordan Rose. I'm the director and founder of the Atlanta Science Festival. And we just wrapped up our 5th annual Science Festival, seeing 50,000 people at 100 different public science events that happen all over Metro Atlanta. So that's fun. We are also launching a new program called Chief Science Officers, which will put middle school and high school students as chief science officers at their schools to develop STEM communities at their schools. And we will empower them to connect with policymakers and legislators and decision makers in the state who are having all these great conversations about STEM education and workforce development and integrating computer science into the curriculum. And we will have opportunities for these students to have a voice in these conversations. So I'm here to learn more about CS4Georgia and to also try and figure out ways that we can get some of our student leaders on the committees and boards and working groups so that they can have a voice in these conversations.
Wow. Wow. Well, Caitlin is very excited to hear that. Excuse me, again, Dr. Dooley is. Or Clark Howard. Every time you Clark Howard, every time somebody says Mr. Howard, Clark says, no, Clark. Jordan, that is amazing. Those are wonderful ideas. And to have students in the center is a beautiful and effective strategy. And Erica Moore from TAG and Jessica Hooper from Project Lead the Way are going to help us think about policy. And I love what you guys are working on. Anything we can do to support you guys in that effort statewide and in the Atlanta area, we'd be happy to do that. So thank you. Now let's do Abigail. She did not have a mic, so thank you for typing it in, Abigail. She said, I am representing Abigail Jocelyn. She's representing the GGDA and am in DeKalb County. Brian, do you know what GGDA is? Georgia Gaming Developers Association, that's right. And am in DeKalb County. I can't think of anything fun about games to post. Oh wait, one of our members presented yesterday on Capitol Hill on Brush Up a game they created, proven to improve how children brush their teeth. Georgia, oh yeah, great. Thank you, Abigail, great to have you. C. Hendricks Fitzgerald, I've unmuted you. Could you please tell us your name and title, what you do, and something fun? Oh, you did have that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't introduce yourself with audio. Okay, you teach in the web and digital design pathway. Could you type where you are?
She's from Ben Hill.
Ah, Ben Hill. Oh, yeah, Ben Hill is showing up in force today.
And then she's going to be, she's going to get an endorsement for computer science. So she's looking forward to that. She's going to 2 weeks training this summer in Atlanta for film. What was it called, Cindy? Some like film production. Yeah.
Right.
And then she's doing the code.org, some training for like a week. So she's going to be busy.
She's doing some certifications in Adobe also.
Right.
I don't know how she's doing all of it. Amazing.
Hopefully get some sleep. Sleep is good. All right, Chris Thompson, the most honorable Chris Thompson, please introduce yourself. Tell us something fun. Oh, are you? Oh, let me unmute you. Okay, now. Chris? Okay, he may not.
Can't
Oh,
do
there
it.
we go. You can't speak right now, Chris? Oh, we'll come back to Chris. And next we have Lauren. Lauren, could you tell us who you are, and what you do, where you are, and something fun.
Sure. So my name's Lauren Margello, and I'm a computer science education researcher at Georgia State University in Atlanta. And I'm also in charge of developing our computer science endorsement program for teachers, which is under review at PSC right now. Something fun, speaking of rodeos, is that I used to be in rodeos when I was younger.
Oh, get out! More on that next time. Thank you, Lauren. All right, we have two phone numbers. One is 678-471. Who is that? I'm unmuting you. Did you want to quickly tell us your name, title, what you do, and something fun?
So good morning, Code. This is Erica Moore with Tag Education Collaborative. Hello, good sir. And hello to everybody that's on the call. Let me not be rude and not say hello to everyone that's participating on the webinar. My apologies. Excited to be here. I serve as the Executive Director for Tag Ed. Have been in this role since September. Obviously, the organization has been around for quite a few years, 2002 to be exact. We're really excited to be a part of the support and engagement that's happening with CS4Georgia, and just for many of you that are on the call, we work with you either directly or in some of these other mutual environments in terms of, advisory councils and steering committees and that type of thing. So that's our general interest, is making sure that CS4Georgia for all in Georgia definitely comes to fruition. And as Co mentioned, one of the specific focuses, subcommittees that I'm working with the illustrious Jessica Hooper from Project Lead the Way. We're working to ensure that some policy opportunities ideally can be put in place to definitely undergird or support all the amazing efforts that are taking place through this initiative.
Thank you, Erica. We're very lucky to have Erica, her energy, her abilities, and commitment to the work. So glad to have you at Tag Ed, and they are very interested in seeing how they can support more work around the state, and we can hopefully help with that. So thank you, Erica. And we'll hear back from her in a second later. And we have phone number 404-538. Who is that? Did you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hey, this is Tim Carroll, Director of Education Policy at the Metro Atlanta Chamber.
Hey.
So let's see. So I work on state and local policy. Very interested in supporting computer science initiatives. And let's see, fun fact. I really enjoy gardening and farming. That's my hobby.
Wow. I do not. So you can work on my yard. Thank you. Good to have you. Last but not least, Chris Thompson, did you want to mention who you are and something fun? Chris, can you hear us? Oh, he might have us on mute. So let's get started with our meeting. I'm going to now exit my full screen, and I'm going to share my screen, everybody, so that we can, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at CS4Georgia. So if you have not been to our website yet, I'm going to use our website to do an overview. For those of you who are familiar, please be patient. But we've added some new information. Of course, you can reach us. This is Brian's office phone number up here, which he never checks, but he's going to try to check more often. And this is our new email address. It's not live yet, but it will be live. Brian just said he's forwarding the calls now to his cell phone number, so he gets it. And that is an email that's active now. We just need to make that link active. We have a Facebook page, Twitter page, and a LinkedIn page. We're going to be growing that. So please do go join today. Tag it, tag us, post ideas there. We're going to be pushing everybody there. That is the place that's the best place to share announcements, particularly quick ones. We're only going to post on our website something big and important because it takes time and effort to, of course, do that. As you all know, maintaining websites can be time consuming. So we're going to drive everything to our website, on, our social media on basic day-to-day announcements. But the only thing that we will focus on posting is professional development. So you'll see a lot of stuff on our website on professional development, because that, as you all have told us, that is the key and that is the heart of our strategy to achieve our goal, which is Computer Science for Georgia, which is a collective impact effort by a diverse set of stakeholders to bring quality CS education to all children in K-12 systems throughout Georgia's 182 school districts. That is what we're trying to accomplish. So in our website, you'll see a lot of information about us, and you can read more about what we do and what Brian and I do. Brian and I, what we call, and Caitlin partially, we try to keep away from doing too much administrative stuff. So backbone functions, communication, coordination, funding opportunities. Brian has provided us his data on where we are, but this is a little bit behind. We'll get it updated. But generally speaking, in the 2015-16 school year, as you see here, 40,000 students took CS, were engaged in some way in CS courses. About 400 CS teachers out there. We're not talking about certified. We're just talking about who are teaching. And then we have about 9 CS pathways. Here are some specific things we're focused on. There's the Alignment for Impact project, which is an NSF-funded project in 5 school districts. We'll talk about that in a second. That's the one that Gail and her folks in Ben Hill and Thomas County are also involved in with, so Ben Hill, Thomas, and Douglas County and Atlanta APS, and one more in South Georgia, Brooks County. And so we also have our other big focus, and main focus really, is professional development. And then I just put an icon here for if you wanted reminders to go get an overview of what we are. We'll look at that in a second. We did host a conference 2 years ago, actually, at this point, and where we, no, actually, it was a year ago. Oh my gosh, feels like 2 years ago. We've done so much, thanks to everybody's work. But last year, about this time, in March of last year, we hosted a conference on how to use collective impact efforts, which is what I and my colleagues have some expertise around. We bring that to the table for the state, and we're partnering with Godot and other folks to do that. There's some quotes from involved folks. Joey Womack with Amplify for Good. We got a quote from Deepa, who is leading up a lot of the CSTA work, Computer Science Teachers Association work in Georgia. Amazing commitment by her and her folks. And of course, Erica, who's on the call, she gave us a quote about synergy and thought leadership. And then you'll see at the bottom some featured information that Brian will keep updated. We have a colleague named Kendall Rainey. She's going to be updating that information for us. So this is a little bit outdated, and some of this is a little bit out of order, but we basically have a few things going on. And the main thing that's coming up now is in May 12th, soon, is Scratch Day. So, and then you'll see where we are located. Here's a little bit about us. So CS for Georgia, about 2 years ago, Ann Kramer and Dr. Kamal Bob, who's now with Tech, he was at NSF at the time, came together to ask how we could bring more CS in Atlanta. And then we quickly realized over the course of a year of planning and discussion that we can't really do anything without getting involved with the state. And this really needs to be a statewide effort. So that's where CS for Georgia was born. And of course, I don't need to go over the reasons. You already know that. By the way, I'm going to go quickly over the website because you guys can read, I'm sure. So you can go back and visit the site if you have not already done that, so you can read about it. And the main way where we talk about how we will expand access to quality CS education is professional development. And when we say quality CS education, we're really talking about using the K-12 CS framework. So if you're not familiar with the K-12 CS framework, go check it out. The esteemed Dr. Dooley was one of the authors on it, among code.org and other folks who are involved with it. And we're particularly interested in children who are focusing on kids who don't traditionally have access to quality CS education. So expanding access to girls, minority students, kids with disabilities, etc. Who's coordinating this work? Well, Dr. Dooley's our leader. She is hosting us at Georgia DOE, what we call they are our anchor institution in collective impact and similar efforts networking communities. There's other ways that people come together. We've chosen the more traditional collective impact model. Dr. Dooley and Georgia DOE and the superintendent, he himself has been, Mr. Woods is the state school superintendent, and he's been a fantastic supporter of Dr. Dooley and us. So they host us. Mr. Cox, Brian Cox, he is our computer science specialist for the state. By the way, if everybody may not know that, most states don't have a computer science specialist, so you know how special Brian is. And there's me, little old me. My name is Khurram Hassan, but you guys will be practicing that name for a while. So if you try to do that, Co is what everybody call me. And so here is the basic structure and format. So we are in Georgia DOE. We have created CS4Georgia. These are the two logos. And alignment for impact is the way we are testing our ideas. We don't have millions of dollars like other states. So some states, a few states like Rhode Island, Virginia, Arkansas, have gotten lucky with some commitment to expand computer science education with lots of PD, lots of expansion in resources. But we're doing well. We've got other good things going on. But until we have those resources, we're going to be testing our ideas and promoting what we have. And the way we have structured ourselves as a network. So we are not an organization. We don't have a board of directors. We're not a nonprofit. We're not part of the government. We're a network. And Georgia DOE is luckily providing us some space and time to do this. We are structured as having a steering committee of 6 CS4Georgia representatives. So folks who are members, anybody can be a member. So you guys can join today. And you can go to the top of our, I should have shown that when we were earlier, at the very top of our homepage is a button to join us, which will also get you to automatically sign you up to our MailChimp emails, which will come out once a month or more often if Dr. Dooley or Brian have something important to share, or Chris Thompson often has very, very good national news and data to share. And then we have, to support the steering committee, we have a backbone function. So myself and Brian Cox coordinate with support from other people, communication, coordination, evaluation, and fundraising. We have active working groups. Professional development is the key. We also have a data committee, which really is Brian's data committee on CS data at the state level, and they meet occasionally. And so we piggyback on his work to learn from them. Industry and philanthropy, so people like TAG and others, community foundations, Google, Chamber of Commerce, etc., are part of this group. Policy education, that's a new group that Erica and Jessica are helping us figure that out. And there's other folks like Tim and others who are interested in that space, and Amy Lancaster also from the Metro Chamber. And then we also have an effort at equity and public awareness. And we're going to continue to make sure that we are thinking of everybody's access and figuring out the best way to engage everybody. We are going to engage at the district level. We're going to help folks figure out how to create computer science plans. That's what we are doing in the Alignment for Impact project, is helping districts figure out and implement their computer science plans. And as we learn from these districts in Brooks, Thomas, Ben Hill, APS, and Douglas, some folks don't need to wait for us. Gwinnett, others have done a great job. There's many other districts and schools, individual schools that are speeding ahead. They don't need help from us, but we will be creating tools so that part of our effort is to just create tools for everybody to do that. I'm not going to go into our timeline much, but basically we started back in 2016. We're going to implement the Alignment for Impact project over the next 2 years. And our goal is by 2030, try to apply our lessons and expand access dramatically in the next 10 years. At the current rate, for us to get to about 10,000 CS teachers in elementary, middle, and high school, it'll take us 300 years. So we don't have 300 years. So Dr. Dooley shared that with us. So we're going to try to speed that up while we have her and Brian leading the way. Anybody can be part of us, and I already talked to you about structure. Here are the steering committee members, and anybody can join. So feel free to join. And this link down here, don't use it. We need to update it. This is our Google form. We actually need to use the button at the top of our home page. So if you are trying to join our membership, please use this button. It takes you to our MailChimp connection directly. Next, I'm going to skip over the NSF conference. You can go read about it if you want. I just want to show you quickly, and then we'll switch to Brian and Caitlin to share. They have DOE updates for us. And we'll end with Erica, who will give a quick preview. We'll feature policy at our next call, and she and Jessica Hooper will help us with that. We have created a professional development page where we want you to go there, check it out, and tell us. Sorry, it's taking a second for it to load. This is where we'll be posting information about professional development opportunities in Georgia. And sorry, it's, I don't know why it's not loading. I did the traditional PD. Well, I don't want to take up more time, but while let me just refresh the page. So here we go. I think it should work now. Yeah. So basically, what we wanted to share was the professional development page. Please go look at it. I'm sure you can do it by yourself if you're on the computer. There's also PD dates, and in the resources area, you will see some research on CS, funding opportunities, statistics, and state of CS map. Given that for some reason we're having loading issues, we'll just stop. And it's fine, actually. I need to move on to, I think you'd rather hear from Dr. Dooley and Brian anyway. So for the purposes of today, that is your introduction to CS4Georgia. Actually, I will pause 1 minute in case anybody who's new to us and take you off of sharing screen. Anybody have any questions for us? I see that several new people have joined us. Thank you, guys. Anybody have any questions before we you can put the questions in the chat box. Oh, Terry Smith just posted Richard Ward is a graduate of Fitzgerald High School. Great. So anybody else have any questions for me about CS4Georgia and what we're trying to accomplish? Okay, we'll have a time at the end if you have any questions before you log off. Without any further ado, Dr. Dooley, could you and Brian share with us, we'll start with Dr. Dooley, and then Brian, if there's anything you want to share, what you guys are doing, and how people can get more involved. All right, you're on, Dr. Dooley.
So I wanted to just let you know that we are in the middle of writing a CS plan for Georgia, and I'll give you a little history about where we've come from and then where we're headed.
Can you guys give a thumbs up? Sorry if you can hear Dr. Dooley okay? Okay, good, okay, great.
I'll be a little louder too, just in case. So when I first came on to the staff here at the Department of Education in 2015, there was already a governor's task force assigned by Governor Nathan Deal in order to get computer science education up and running in Georgia. And what that task force asked of us first was to ensure that computer science could be an allowable course in terms of students' graduation from high school. So we ended up with computer science high school courses that are allowable for graduation and are permissive or permitted as part of the admissions process for the University System of Georgia for science and for world languages. What we didn't have at the time was permission to use computer science for mathematics. So one of the things that we are working on now is to create a high school level computer science and mathematics integrated course so that there is an option for kids who want to take computer science and get that math credit. That should be ready soon in the future, but it probably won't be in time for kids to take it this fall. It will be the following fall because we've been writing that course with national and state experts and are still going through the review process for the course. That computer science task force also asked us to create more updated computer science courses. So we created 3 courses in our CTAE frameworks. For anyone who's not familiar with CTAE, it's Career, Technological, and Agricultural Education. In other states, sometimes it's called CTE. What we see happening in computer science, though, nationally, is that computer science is not just a career prep discipline. It's actually a routine discipline similar to mathematics education or science education, because kids need to understand how computers work no matter what industry they're going into. When we look at computer science professionals, there are more computer science and technological jobs related to computer science outside of what would be typically considered a computer science industry than within the industry. So as we're thinking through computer science education, we're thinking of it as literally starting a new discipline. So in addition to the CTAE courses, which we want and need to have, we're actually thinking that computer science education is as important to every child as literacy and mathematics. It really is the way that society works now, and you cannot exist and participate in the society in an equal way if you don't understand how computer science works, because it affects how we read, it affects how we live, it affects every aspect of our lives. So what that looks like in policy and practice is we will continue to reinforce and engage CTAE as a mechanism to get courses up and running, as a mechanism to fulfill the industry needs that we have for computer scientists. And we have to start computer science as a K-12 discipline. And that means that we will be looking at elementary level as well as middle and high school level discipline types of courses, which is what this computer science and mathematics course really helps us to communicate and gives promise to that vision. The other thing that we had come through with the computer science task force was that we needed more professional learning, and that professional learning in its perfect state would look like certified teachers. The reality in Georgia is that most teachers do not have to be certified given the contracts that we have approved through strategic waivers and through our charters. Yet at the same time, we know that certified teachers have access to a deeper level of pedagogical and content knowledge. So we believe that having certification processes up and going for computer science is absolutely necessary, and that we need to have endorsement programs. We really want teachers to go and get certified and get endorsed. At the same time, we do not have time to move in the direction that we want to move at the pace that we need to move by requiring that every teacher is certified. So what that looks like is that we have a lot of professional learning that's getting up and going right now, and we are really reinforcing that more and more teachers need to get involved in computer science, even if they aren't necessarily computer scientists. Again, because we have to grow a teaching force that is 10,000 teachers wide, and that is going to take a lot of different kinds of efforts, including certification and endorsements, but also general professional learning and professional development. So as we completed the task force and we rolled a lot of that information and effort into our collective impact group and into the advisory that Brian leads, what we've been trying to do is really, really engage with professional learning opportunities. We were very excited to see that our legislators provided $500,000 for teachers to engage in middle school computer science, professional learning. So Brian and Delda Hagen worked together to get 3 middle school courses up and going. Those are revised courses. Hopefully they are seen as state-of-the-art courses. We will certainly be looking at them as we roll them out and make sure that they pass muster. And so if you have any feedback about those courses and ways that we can improve them over time, we're more than happy to take that feedback. We do have some grants that have been rolled out through our CTAE division, our CTA team, And those grants can be accessed by school districts in order to fund professional learning for these middle school courses. I think one of the reasons why funding middle school is so important, and I was pleased to see our legislators do that, is because we know that kids make decisions about whether or not to take computer science courses very early on. Those decisions are often made in middle school. So really focusing in on middle school as a way to pull in, especially females and students of color, is going to be really, really important. We do see in our statewide data that we have representation in our high school courses that is somewhat skewed and overrepresenting our students who are male and white. And while we don't want to deny anybody an opportunity to take computer science, when I see numbers like that and they're not as representative of our general demographics, it makes me think that we should make some opportunities available and maybe reinforce that they are available to other demographic groups. So as we move forward with CS4Georgia, what we're hoping to do is we really want to keep track of our data, push that data back out into our districts and out into our other partners so that you can see where we are. And then as a collective network, we can move in the direction that we agree on. This is not necessarily the DOE's direction. It's not Tag Ed's direction. It's not Seismic's direction or, a certain district's direction. It is collective. And we create these shared goals through the facilitation of collective impact. And by facilitating that collective impact and facilitating that development of a shared goal, that process helps to drive the network forward. DOE is only as strong as our networks. You guys are, we're just the backbone, but you guys are the brain, the muscle, the bones, everything else. So we really feel like our role here is service and support, and we are open to criticism, feedback, comments. The more you can make them constructive, the better it is, because it helps us to not play any guessing games. And then we can help move the collective forward. One last point that I want to make about collective impact. We have another collective impact process that's going strong here in Georgia, and that's the Get Georgia Reading Collective group. The Get Georgia Reading campaign is the third grade reading campaign. We now have 70 communities across Georgia, including many of your communities. I know Ben Hill has been an extraordinary member of the Get Georgia Reading campaign community, and Thomas County as well. What we see when we have that network of groups come together at the local level as well as at the state level is that we can leverage the synergy among us in order to fulfill our needs. Unlike in private industry where you may be competing, in the public sector, which is where we work, it really helps for us to cooperate and coordinate, because our goal is a shared goal. If your students are successful, if your teachers are successful, then the Georgia Department of Education is successful, the chambers are successful. We share in each other's success and we root each other on. So as you think about the collective impact framework and the CS4Georgia framework, I want you to think about yourselves as active participants in that network. And you are what we would call an influencer. You're a very, very important member of our network because you have influence in your local community as well as statewide. So take on what you hear here. If you have criticisms, please tell them to me directly. If you have kudos, explain them across all your networks, and let's get all of Georgia dedicated to this shared goal of moving computer science forward for our state. Our students are depending on us to prepare them for the future. And it really is up to us to do the actions and take the right actions in order to do that effectively.
Dr. Dooley, if you have any questions for Dr. Dooley, please type them in the chat box or give us a minute and we'll come back for final questions. Brian just wanted to add to some things he said earlier and add to what Dr. Dooley was just talking about. So please type your questions for Brian and Dr. Dooley. And as the only thing I want to emphasize in what she's saying is we have done a lot of great work. We have a lot of great people like you in the state. We're going to accomplish this one day at a time, one step at a time, learning together. So we can't get access to all kids in Georgia this year, but I think we are putting the steps in to accomplish that as soon as possible. And we may speed up whenever we have some amazing champions come online. You never know when that could happen. So one day at a time, learning together, being patient together. Here's Brian to share, and then we'll go to questions, and Erica will add a little bit about previewing our next discussion in a couple of months. Just a minute.
Hello. Right here. Okay. One of the things Dr. Dooley mentioned a minute ago that I'd like to kind of harp on or bring back to focus is that 2 years ago, I was a high school teacher. I taught high school for 8 years. I taught computer science, math, engineering, all the STEM stuff. And the Department of Education was this big monolithic beast that did stuff that I didn't really have any connection to. Since I've been here, I've noticed that there's been a concerted effort to move away from that, to become more of a service-oriented support mechanism for all the teachers. And that's how I envision this particular conversation, is allowing us to get that feedback, to make that connection to the teacher so that we can decide together how we're going to move forward. Nobody has everything figured out. We're creating a new discipline from scratch that hasn't been done in decades. And this new discipline is different from other disciplines that exist in regards to the fact that it is spawned by our information age, this new technological, digital transformation that society is going through. So we're figuring this out as we go, and it's imperative that we have a consistent feedback loop, a way to connect and communicate with teachers and other stakeholders in our larger communities. So I love the idea that CS4GA is a collective impact group that includes everyone. So again, we encourage everybody to join and be a part of it, because we don't get the full picture, and therefore we can't make the most informed decisions if we don't have everybody's voice. And to get more of the connection, and Dr. Dooley talked a lot about your networks and how to build your networks. I wanted to mention a couple of networks that are beneficial for teachers and others to join. One, we have a professional learning community online, EdWeb. There's one for high school teachers, middle school teachers, and elementary school teachers that you can join. We push out a lot of information through there. If we hear about grants or professional development opportunities, there's a lot of stuff that goes out through there. A lot of stuff goes out through the CS4GA website. Please join there. CSTA is a Computer Science Teachers Association. They're involved with the CS4 Georgia effort. And they get a lot of information from national perspectives. So being able to join them and talk to other teachers. CS4All is a national consortium that your districts can join. Individual teachers that can't join CS4All, but districts can join and learn about different types of curriculum, different types of nationwide perspectives and initiatives that are going on. CS4All Teachers is also a national organization that has great pedagogy and webinars and scholarships for teachers to learn and grow in professional development. So increasing your community, making all your networks come together and using those as an opportunity to learn and to share with us things that you learn from those situations is great. We have a large perspective, but I'd also like to use this opportunity to get as detailed as we can to answer any questions that we have. I get a lot of questions about, because we say that you have 9 courses that count for graduation credits. Those 9 courses are AP Computer Science A, AP Computer Science Principles, the 2 years of IB Computer Science. We have a game design course. We have a cybersecurity pathway, and the capstone course for that counts for graduation credit. We have an embedded computing course that's the capstone for Internet of Things pathway. We have a web development pathway and a web design pathway. The web development course counts for graduation credit. We have a programming, games, apps, and society course, which is a broad scope. It focuses on programming, but how it applies to some more specific target areas in our society. It also counts for graduation credit. So knowing those things is important for counselors, is important for administrators, is important for teachers, so that we can go out and have these conversations and expand our awareness. I was very happy to see that we had House Resolution 1036 just went through, and it's a focus of the legislators to expand the awareness of computer science. So we'll be talking about computer science summits, having more conversations with counselors, with administrators, with teachers, bringing you all together to have talks about why computer science is invaluable and important in our society. Normally when I go out and talk to people, it depends on the audience, but I tend to talk about what is important about computer science. First, I talk about society. Everybody needs it. As Dr. Dooley was saying a little while ago, it is becoming as central to who we are as individuals as reading or basic math. If you don't have computational thinking as a background and computer science as a fundamental skill, then you're going out to the society and you're not fully prepared. And that's not just our students, that's teachers as well. So we also need the professional development. We all need continued growth and development. It's related to everything, right? So that's my first point, is always that everybody needs it at this point in our society. The second point is the workforce aspect. So anybody that's talking about the jobs that are available, we have 20,000 open computing jobs in Georgia right now, nearly 20,000 open, and they're in every industry across the board. So if you want to do computing with the film industry, which is booming in Atlanta and in Georgia, there are plenty of jobs in there. If you want to do it in the hospitality industry, in the medical industry, in the real estate industry, and definitely in the software development industry, in the gaming design industry, there are jobs in all of those contexts that require some knowledge about computational thinking and computer science. And they're well-paying jobs. They're not gigs, right? These are full careers. Understanding of computer science benefits everyone. Oh. Oh, they're telling me I need to wrap up my my talk. But yeah, so if you have any questions, we're consistently available. Feel free to call, email. I am as responsive as I can be. I look through my email list every day and respond to teachers all the time. Any questions about anything that's going on at Godot, anything that's going on with CS4GA, feel free to reach out to us. I think they want to give Eric an opportunity to.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Caitlin, were you?
Oh, I was just saying, Erica and Abigail, you guys have been working on a important initiative to ensure that kids have access to internships and work-based learning. This is what brings learning to life. It's what makes learning really, really relevant for our kids, and it's really how they will decide what they enjoy. So I just want to give you guys a chance to talk and tell us what you're up to.
Abigail?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Sure. No, this is Erica. Thank you so much, Dr. Dooley, for that segue, because you're absolutely right. On a daily basis, we are working and we are literally currently deep in the throes of assigning out internship opportunities for students right now for this summer season. So it is extremely relevant to us. And from the standpoint of, as everything that you guys do that build up to this, it creates more opportunities. It gives students broader experiences, and it equips them to actually honestly compete for some of these internship opportunities. But all of this is about supplementing what doesn't exist, supporting things so that they can exist, so that all of these students have a better future going forward. And so I won't reiterate all the comments that have already been made around the relevancy. I'll just share what Jessica and I currently have been working on, and are looking forward to working with a more extended committee to try and bring some of this to fruition. So you did hear Brian talk about House Resolution 1036. I personally, along with other people like Tim, for example, who I know is on this call, and Dr. McGivney from the Department of Education, work closely with Representative Kendrick in any support capacity in which she needed to really help champion and ensure that ideally that resolution would come to fruition. And at 11:47 p.m. on March 29th, thankfully it did, and it was passed unanimously. And the hope and the recognition is that obviously it's a very much a first step. It's putting information into the hands of, as Dr. Dooley mentioned earlier, influencers, right? But the reality is there have to be organizations that are willing to, one, help put that information in their hands, And two, what's next after that? So that's really where some of the places where Jessica and I are trying to pick up. It's like, okay, there's some great momentum out there. Georgia is a state that has opportunities that already exist, like with the CS being tagged from a science or a foreign language credit, and like Dr. Dooley mentioned, moving towards making that for a math credit as well. But we know that more has to happen, particularly in the area of funding. And if any of you who are included on Chris Thompson's email, you saw the information that he pushed out, right, of other states and the funding that's been associated in other states. So we want to identify policy opportunities, everything, quite honestly, primarily from a professional development perspective, as well as specific to engaging students, that will allow that to come to fruition. We have since had a really great information session with Dr. McGivney, and we're looking forward to a continued conversation with him, engaging again more committee members, looking at, right, what's the data that's already out there in terms of the benchmarks for other states and where that's happening, how we know it's making a difference. So initiatives like what Jordan mentioned with the Chief Science Officer, initiative, or where funding is provided to empower more teachers to be certified and to have the right skill sets, because they are the ones who actually touch the students. Looking at all of that statistical data to help build the case for Georgia. That's a lot of what we're doing right now in terms of building out other language for other policy opportunities. And we're starting it now because we recognize that while things may have a little bit of a lull and a quiet period, this is a really great time to get ramped up. Obviously, since Georgia is in an electoral period for our state, so there may be more people who would be willing to take a listen and have an interest and make it a part of their platform versus when it's not. So we're trying to leverage all of that to bring some positive things to fruition. And I'll stop because I know we're starting to go over, and I want to be a good steward of whatever time you guys still need left.
Great, and you guys can see the email that Erica was referencing. Thank you, Chris, for always sharing great stuff with us. We are out of time. So if you have any suggestions for us, please, for topics, one of the things that Dr. Dooley told me was that we should change our time to 4 p.m. so that teachers can participate more. And so you'll see us in the future shifting to that. If you have any other suggestions, please email us. Go to our website. You can email us through there, or put it in the chat box. Get in touch with Brian or I, so that Dr. Dooley's mailbox doesn't blow up, but she'll forward stuff to us if you email her. That's it for today. Thank you so much for participating. And we will look forward to, we'll schedule when we have time selected that Dr. Dooley, Brian, and Erica and Jessica can do together. Looks like there's a lot of excitement, so we'll work out whether it's going to be every 2 months or every quarter that we do this, but there'll be other ways to engage with us. So please go to our website, go to social media, and sign up and spread the word to other teachers. You're welcome to have parents or anybody join, but we are welcoming, primarily we're focusing on supporting teachers and school districts right now, because you all are our focus for supporting you so you can work with students and parents. So we are providing the backbone, as Dr. Dooley said. We're going to stop here. Anybody have any last exclamation point, excitement, or questions? All right. As you can see, Brian just said, thanks for CS4GA. Timeline, Patricia just asked. We don't have a date. A lot of this is driven by Dr. Dooley's schedule, but what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get one scheduled, and we'll get that out to you so that you guys can start putting it on your calendars. We also need to talk about, now you can do it. We also need to talk about, in terms of content, so please email us. You'll see us reaching out to you, but send us ideas, what you want to talk about, who do you want to hear from. But remember, this is not the only, this is a very broad, broad conversation that we're having today. The details are happening at the small group level. So all our working groups are going to be moving to a Zoom meeting. Everything is going to go statewide so that we can expand the number of people being involved in the day-to-day activities. So every week, every month, things are happening, but it won't happen through the Zoom call. This is primarily a broadcast venue for Dr. Dooley, Brian, you all, Chris, Erica, anybody who's involved with us. We'll be setting agendas and topics that are going to be sort of broadcasting information, but the involvement in the details are going to be happening in the work group meetings. You'll be getting that information through MailChimp, through our social media. Sign up for those things if you want to stay in touch. That's it from us at Godot.
Bye. Thank you. Please email us with the topics that you'd like to hear about, and if you want to be a speaker and be one of the main broadcasters, we would love that too.
Yes. Bye. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions in between meetings, please email us with questions or comments that you want to be able to push out. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.